buddy. Are you girls ready yet again for the second real excited topic of the night?
Really, honestly, might not be.
I know. I'm stressed. Okay. So last week we watched the Bucks fight FTR twice, which fucking sucks ass, in a trios match on Collision and a ladder match on Dynasty. But who cares? Because actually the ladder match totally fucked, and the Bucks have the belts again. Mommy's little babies are back in gold. Thank God.
This match was so much better than the Wembley match. It was crazy.
I think it was.
Yeah, I definitely had that moment where I was like, oh, this is why people like FTR. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I understand.
Disgusting thing to say, but okay.
It actually was so, because their last two matches I didn't enjoy. And I know you were there live for one of them, so I think you got a better experience. But there was a lot of other stuff hanging over them. So I haven't enjoyed the last two at all. And I had a moment during this match where suddenly I was like, is this like maybe like even better than the Wembley match? And then I realized I was thinking that because I was experiencing enjoyment. I was having actively a really lovely time watching the match, and I was so confused by that feeling. Yeah. To be looking at Dax and Cash intermittently and feeling joy, unknown to me. Yeah,
it's confusing. It's confusing. Yeah. But yeah, it was like, they're going fast, and it is like when FTR is fighting the rare team that they have some chemistry with that's also a good team, they will put on a good match. So
yeah, they were. I mean, They went, all four of them were like, if we die in this ring tonight, then we die in this ring tonight. Who cares? We're doing it.
When they were getting please be careful chants, it was a high point.
I've never heard that. No, I don't think we've ever watched a match that resulted in that before. And we've watched a lot of Bucks Lucha Brothers matches. So,
whoever started that one in the crowd probably feels pretty proud of themselves. And they should.
You should. Okay, so the Bucks did end up winning thanks to, there was a little cheating because a little masked imp slid into the ring and I believe yanked an FTR off a ladder. Is that correct?
Yes, Dax.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Oh, the best one to yank. No, not sexual. Bad. I mean, it's violent. I'm endorsing violence.
Like in violence,
I'm endorsing violence.
Can you name this? Can you name this episode, Allie, the Dax yanker?
No, that's actually really inappropriate, and we can't be
she yanks it to Dax.
We can't be saying lies. We can't be saying lies about each other. We have a sacred bond of trust, do we not?
That's
true. It's too bad that I can kind of title it whatever I want, though.
Do we have a sacred bond of trust or not? Yes or no?
We do.
We do, listeners. Okay. So not erotic. The best FTR to yank.
The best one to yank might still be the title. We'll just see what happens.
It was a little guy in a Sting mask, and then the security came and took the Sting mask off, and who was it? It was a little Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And did he get
the funniest little face?
The smirkiest little smirk.
And did he get a big old pop?
Oh, he sure did. People screamed their faces off.
Everyone had.
Pretty stoked for that. Yep.
I very much enjoyed, somebody got a video of him coming through the crowd, and he was wearing his little Sting mask and holding the popcorn, and he casually walked up to the barrier, and then all of a sudden he tossed the popcorn to the side and leapt over, and you saw, there was the person with the camera was not the only one who noticed him. A bunch of people had noticed him right away, and everyone was watching him, and all of a sudden the second he jumped the barrier, you just heard this sonic wave hit the crowd where they were like, I know what's happening.
And it was funny because his little beard was poking out the bottom of the Sting mask. I mean, not that it's obviously we assumed it would be anyway, but that it would be him. But he was doing his little don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
It was funny in some of those videos how fast people, he's way back just walking down the aisle, and people are, oh, that's him. It's the Sting mask.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So wonderful, so delightful. Okay, and then JB also returned to Dynamite this week, finally. So we had the whole new elite, Bucks Okada and JB showing up together. And we got some updates throughout the night on how they showed up with intent to meet with Tony. They went into Tony's office. They came out of Tony's office. Alex Scoops Marvez was there. I actually lost my mind in the middle of the segment when he out loud said, "I need a scoop."
Like, literally, I was like, yes, Alex, yes.
Alex Marvez, you're the love of my life. I know you need a scoop. I know you need a scoop because you have children to feed.
Yeah.
You have children
and
to
as
feed.
he got turned down by one by members of the elite, and his desperate
Poor
plea for
face.
scoops got more and more intense until finally Matt Jackson gave him a scoop.
To call out by name every single man, saying, please, sir, I'm
need
an
a
urchin.
scoop.
I'm
I've
a
been
little
standing
urchin.
here for hours.
Do you want me to freeze to death on the cold streets of London town? I need a scoop.
I need a little scoop, please. Can't you spare me a little scoop?
Please. I know you have lots of them. And finally, benevolent Matthew Jackson says, okay, Marvez, one little scoop. JB and Tony Khan will be having an in-ring segment tonight.
That's quite a scoop.
Are we going to have to retrain ourselves to say
scoop he
Jack
ever
Perry?
got. I really can't. I think I kind of don't.
Call him JP and stuff.
I can't do it. I'm like, he is
It's
JB.
gross.
I'm not gonna disrespect him and call him Jungle Boy. I know he's a man now and he wants to be Jack Perry, but he will always be JB to me. I can't change.
I love
Yeah.
JB.
And 50 years from now, you'll be calling him that in the IWC, and some youthful person will be like, who the hell is
Who the
JB?
hell is JB? Yeah. I'll say, I'll tell you a story that'll make the hair stand up on your neck. And he used real glass, too. Okay. So this in-ring segment closed out the show. What do you guys want to say about what happened? What do you want to say?
It was incredible. JB comes out, Tony comes out. No music for Tony. Comes out. In
No
silence.
music for JB. It was a
Oh,
no.
yeah. No music at all. Silence. They come out in silence. That's how you know it's serious.
It's serious. It's serious.
okay.
JB, he says something to Tony. I forget what he said.
He gave a little
In the
promo.
Yeah, so he was like, I've spent the best nights of my life in this arena. He was like, he said a bunch of really nice things, and then he was like, I want you, and he turned to and Tony was like a bobblehead. He was just standing there in a suit that was like a slightly too big, just nodding his head over and over and over like a little bobblehead. And he turned to Tony and he was like, I want you to come over here and give me a handshake, and we'll put all this behind us. And Tony said, there's nothing I want more than that. This is everything. Of course. And so he shook
said
his
that with
hand.
his eyes.
Yeah, of course, with his eyes. He didn't actually speak.
And
So
they
they
were large, beseeching eyes.
Beseeching.
I have to say. Yeah.
He gave him the weirdest handshake I've ever seen.
And the
Just
hand-
dweebiest
yes.
hand.
Then the handshake turned into a hug, and we said, "Aw." We all said it. And then
We all said
JB
it.
turned and he looked into the camera with the most Dennis the Menace ass smile on his face.
It was the Grinch smile unfurling onto his little face.
I sent a screenshot of it to my best friend who doesn't watch wrestling, and she just said, "Oh my God, what is Luke Perry's son's face doing?"
What it was born to do.
Oh my God. And then he punched Tony Khan in the stomach.
Right
Yeah.
in the stomach.
And
then,
Tony Khan acted like he'd been hit by a Mack truck, which I'm upset. I rewatched a gif of it that I just was losing my mind, where it's like he staggers back with all his limbs out and falls flat, and then suddenly remembers that he got hit in the stomach, and after a long moment clutches his stomach. It's really good.
He looked so skinny and small in this whole segment. It was perfect.
Oh,
I
it
loved
rolled.
it.
It was bullying, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
And then the rest of the elite come running out frantic. Nicholas
Said,
and
"What
Matthew
did you do?"
Jackson, Okada.
What did Nick
JB.
say? Nick said, "You can't treat a billionaire like that."
You can't. He's a billionaire. He said something like, you have to be careful or something like that. It's just not in front of the cameras. JB.
And they go to check on Tony. They start to help him out. One young buck on either side of him holding his hands and kind of a
Beep, beep,
body
trigger.
array that you might recognize.
I did recognize it. Yeah.
A little trigger. But then
Yep.
they said, "Just kidding. I'm just kidding."
Oh, no.
And they
Okada's
helped him
right
to
there.
his feet.
They helped him to his feet,
And then
but then
Matt Jackson scooped Tony up in the most the way you pick up a toddler when it's time for bed.
Tony had never been safer.
Never been safer.
And as you know, the Bucks are revered in the industry. For their safe working. And we saw it. We saw it on display.
We saw it. And
he turned him upside down.
Turned him upside down, and I think someone described this as Matt fell to his feet like a feather wafted to the crowd.
Where have you been reading things?
On Twitter.com.
Matt Jackson fans. Central.com.
No, it was a reply to Trevor Dame's tweet, because Trevor Dame was like, he was holding Tony Khan like his newborn, and someone replied to it and was like, he fell to his knees like a feather wafting to the ground, and I was like, that makes me so happy.
So gentle. Yeah, so Tony Khan got Tony Khan drivered.
But the NFL media did not respect that name.
No, they got it wrong all over the place. I do think this was like pretty much they called it
the Meltzer
all
driver.
Kinds of things that weren't correct. I even saw it called like not even the Meltzer driver, like whatever its full-on wrestling name is. Listen. Regardless, this was a pretty genius PR move because all the NFL sites are like Jaguars owner against pile driver.
Well, frankly, we needed a little genius PR move at the moment, so that's amazing. Yeah. So then, all the nice faces in the locker room ran out belatedly to be like, "Oh, Tony, are you okay?" While the Elite exited, being like, "Best Elite ever."
Great show tonight, guys. Have a good night.
Oh yeah, Matt was giving his little great show tonight, and then they did the Tony Khan tweeting after, which is so genius. They're so smart and funny, and Tony's papa came out as well and did a meme and made a perfect meme that we'll be using forever.
So concerned. It's beautiful.
It was
very
concerned,
rich man.
But it was also very reminiscent of the grandfather at the end of Moonstruck, where he's like crying and someone's like, "What's wrong?" And he just goes, "I'm confused." Okay, we have to have a little we've got a couple more awards to give out. Are you girls ready to do it?
So ready.
Mm-hmm.
Which do you want to start with? Do you want to start with, should we harken back to the FTR matches?
Yeah.
Yes. On Collision, FTR and Pac fought the Bucks and Okada. Last week we said we would die if we didn't see skin. We said if we don't see skin from a young buck, we won't be well. We will not survive.
Yeah.
Nick Jackson.
The man that you are.
The man that you are. Congratulations on receiving today the Most Valuable Player / Locker Room Leader Award for taking your shirt off and wrestling bare-chested, and I hope showing your brother that it's possible.
These shirts actually come off. Matthew Jackson might not know that, but Nick Jackson does know it.
Listen, Leah's done well.
When he took off his shirt, and I was like, it was as if I was a Victorian maiden seeing ankle. I was like, I get to. They show that on television. I can see that. And then Matt kept flirting with it. Like his vest would get unbuttoned a little, and he, like, at one point it gaped. I saw a little cleavage, and he said, "Not for me."
He said, "Female presenting nipples not allowed."
But they
Nicholas, though. Nicholas,
they are.
I know. Nick showed him.
Nick showed them, and for that, he is commended.
Yeah, you got an award. I'll see if I can make a little
make a little plaque. Yeah,
make a little plaque. I don't know which.
We'll mail it to the AEW headquarters.
Should we start mailing those every time we give an award? They're like, what do you do with all of these?
Like, please stop sending us. They've got a marble statue of Nike and like 5 plaques. And they're like, what are we supposed to do with those? No one wants this.
Oh my god. To be super, super clear. No one has to show us their chests. Okay. We
Okay.
respect.
Whoa, hold on a minute. She
They're
does not speak
wrestlers.
for the podcast.
Yeah.
She does not speak
Violently
for all
outvoted.
three of us.
I'm just saying at the end of the day, we can't enforce these rules. we would prefer. We just know how good we loved. Finally,
Just
we get to
because
see
we-
Nyx again, it's just as beautiful as we remembered.
Just
Matt,
because
I'm
we
sure
don't
yours
have
is too.
powers. Just because we don't have powers of enforcement doesn't mean that our decrees have no force. The Supreme Court also has no power of enforcement. It's just because we all believe in it that it happens, and I think we should embrace that energy.
Did you hear that? IWC Anne got a great young education. She was educated well her whole life, and look at her now. She understands
Thank
how
you so
our
much.
government works. She straight up understands how our government works, and she can apply it metaphorically to other situations we find ourselves in.
Yeah. Take a civics class, IWC. Think about
So
it.
we are the Supreme Court of Wrestling, and
Yes.
we mandate that shirts must come off.
Take them off.
Which I do feel like one real moral high ground that we have is that we love every chest we see.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
We will
have
not
never
criticize
we have
No.
never
single
turned-
chest.
No,
yes,
we've
turned a
never
chest away.
said put it away.
No.
Nope. We like them all.
No. Have we ever seen a chest that we didn't like? No.
Sometimes if
absolutely
there's
not.
too many muscles, but even then we allow
true.
them to remain unclothed.
It's true.
Yeah.
We've never
The
made
things-
Brian Cage put a shirt on.
No, we've never even asked him to. Even that's true. Yeah.
well,
the
you
men of the IWC, the critical things they say about other men's bodies, sometimes I am a little bit scandalized by
mean.
it.
I know.
I don't like it.
All
bodies
bodies
are
are beautiful.
They all deserve to have their shirts off, even if they're not to my taste.
Oh my god. Okay, we have another award to give out, and I wanted to do a little preface here. There were many contestants for this award this week because, for a long time, as I mentioned last week, only one man had received this award with any regularity. I can't actually say that for sure, but for a long time, only Matt Jackson had received this award. But last week, Okada received the award, and all the men of AEW heard that suddenly, if you weren't Matt Jackson, you might be able to win this award. And so they came out.
They'd
and
seen
they
the plaques arriving week after week from Matt Jackson, and they said there's no point in competing. And then last week, Okada's plaque arrived, and they said, oh.
They said, hold up. I'm in the running. So they came out and they hammed their little brains out. They were making faces left and right. Takeshita making faces. Who else did I consider for this? There were so many men making beautiful faces. Will Ospreay made some beautiful faces. It was Ham City Baby. But you know who won it?
Beautiful smirking boy.
Jack J.B. Perry won the Damon Salvatore Mommy's Little Ham Award. I think for the first, this is his first
This is
Yeah.
his first
He's
award.
never come close.
No.
before.
No, this is
No.
not only is his first award, it's his first nomination.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the first time he wasn't literally last in the running, just about, you know?
The only range he had
definition.
ever shown us before was, oh my God, why is this happening to me?
Yeah, a little mild confusion. That's as much as we got.
It's crazy that we're not just going to be able to use him as our confused little oh no guy anymore because he's healing for real. He's making
healing for
real
real.
heel
Yeah.
faces. He is doing one thing but meaning another.
Yeah.
And he learned it all from watching his father lover, Christian Cage.
Yeah.
Mentorship matters.
It matters.
Okay?
It's actually delightful to watch a young person grow so much over the course of,
When
4 years.
when JB sat under Christian's learning tree, yeah, of course it mattered.
Of course, a lot of acorns fell
The
in his
olives
mouth.
fell on
you
his
know?
head. Look at him now. He's
The
got a
little
big
nuts
beard and he's
all
doing
over
bad
him.
shit.
He knows that before you say something devastating and punch someone in the guts, first you give him a little hug, you get him close,
You give him the Judas kiss.
give him a little smirk. You know what you're doing.
You show the audience, before the man himself knows, you show the audience what's coming. And the audience says, ooh, boy,
That's Shakespeare, baby. Yeah.
my God. I love to see it. I love theater. And I
love
do
the
think that we
theater.
need to fund the arts. I'll say it.
And that's why all Leah's new student loan money is going to the Young Bucks.
That's correct. That's because
It's called
I am
arts
a
funding.
right.
It's called a
I'm a
grant.
patron of the arts.
The new motto is, how can I financially support the arts? It is via the Young Bucks. When you support the Young Bucks, you are contributing to artistic literacy in America and beyond. Throughout the world.
Yeah, that's what I think anyone would say. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that seems right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the other stuff we have here is just that Kenny is going to be on Dynamite next week. It is up in Winnipeg, and we don't believe that he is anywhere near being ready to wrestle again. So there's a question of what will he do? Will he interact with this new elite?
He's got to, right?
Will he get savagely, brutally attacked by his former friends? I hope so. That's what
I think he has
They better
to.
not punch him in the stomach.
I think
He's got infection in there.
I think that they have to basically
Careful.
murder him because
Absolutely. They
people
do.
were chanting and cheering for them because I think partially people were like, Tony Khan does deserve this.
I mean, it is funny because like people like didn't like seeing the footage because they were like, Tony Khan looks like an asshole because like Jack Perry shouldn't have been suspended all that time. But it does really add to the scapegoat story. It's crazy.
You know, one podcast was brave enough to say,
One brave,
hey,
insightful podcast.
they showed the footage, but we don't know what else is coming, so maybe we shouldn't just make calls.
We could
The
reserve
podcaster
judgment.
said they said they didn't know something.
They said
said
I
they
think we
didn't know
have
the
to wait
future?
and see. They said
Yeah.
we don't have a take yet. Let's see how this
Those
plays out.
podcasters
Yeah.
podcasters sound pretty smart.
So there's a lot of things they could do with this, and you know, we'll see what happens
Let's just
before we
wait.
make an ultimate judgment on whether it was good or bad.
If there's one
Interesting.
podcast that you can trust to hear something and say, let it ride. That's us, baby. That's Tunnel Talk. We'd love to say, you know what, we actually don't know that much. So I guess we'll see.
It's
And
called
sometimes
restraint.
sometimes it does work out in our favor because I have to say it was a pretty unbearable couple of weeks on in the wrestling internet, listening to people confidently tell you what the outcome of this footage was going to be, and it turns out it was fine.
I love
Totally
everyone
fine.
cheering.
It's completely
Totally
fine,
fucking
and
fine.
in fact, did some good stuff for the future.
Pretty much
Yeah.
fine.
And actually, you don't have to have a take. It's actually not required. You can actually just say, not sure
What's
I
our-
have an opinion on that yet.
What's the quote that you had?
You want me
ready
to
for us
read
last
Marcus
week?
Aurelius? Because I did pull
I
it up
do.
as we were doing
yes,
this.
thank you. I
because-
do want it. Yes.
Yeah, so Marcus Aurelius said, "You are not compelled to form any opinion about this matter before you, nor to disturb your peace of mind at all. Things in themselves have no power to extort a verdict from you."
Wow.
I genuinely just experienced a little frisson. I mean, it shuddered through me because I was hearing words of truth and power.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was.
Can all keep that in mind. I got that off of Hellenistic memes for classical teens account. So I hope it's really Marcus Aurelius.
Okay. Well, probably it is.
Well, the thing is that,
Probably.
like, you can trust this podcast to say "let it ride," and you can also trust this podcast to give you misinformation. So,
Yeah.
I gave you a source, and what you do with that source, it's up
You
to
go check out the what was it? Hellenistic memes
Hellenistic
for.
memes for classical teens. It's
classical
on
teens.
Twitter.com. Yeah.
You can visit that yourselves. That's that's on the open Elon Musk's open internet.
That's right.
No borders.
Elon Musk with no borders. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you would like to say about the new elite before we move on?
It's beautiful. It was a beautiful episode of Dynamite.
it was a
Couldn't be
beautiful.
better.
It was a beautiful pay-per-view match. It was a beautiful episode of Dynamite. I'm very happy. It's good.
From the start to the end of that show.
I like the men.
I like
like
them.
them.
I think
I like
they're
what
very
they do.
funny.
I
I
like
like-
seeing my favorite men all the time.
When
And
I
I-
see my favorite men, boom.
And I think the tag division is in good hands now.
I think they are. Yeah.
Fucking finally.
Fucking
Christ.
finally.
Been wandering in the wilderness for 40 years.
I hope
been
they
out there
keep
with
it for like
Kyle.
a year.
Yeah, me too. I hope they never give it up. No, I hope they give them up. But But unless. Nope, they will. They will. Then they must. Unless.